it should be added. In this video, I'll be traveling through a grocery store, Loblaws, located in the heart of downtown Toronto at 60 Carlton Street. After reading the supermarket tour in OPIRG Peterborough publication, aisle 3, the meat market, stood out the most to me. This is because, as someone who has been a vegetarian their whole life, I have not looked into the meat department in such depth before. So during this journey, I'll be investigating the meat department and glimpse at the dairy section as well. Specifically, this video will highlight topics regarding production, location within the supermarket, and the price of meat. Upon providing an analysis with a critical lens, I will look at the ways these purposeful attributes in the supermarket impact. Where does our food come from? Prior to the launching of supermarkets, many citizens access their grocery through local markets and specific farmers or vendors. However, since the adoption of supermarket, under one roof can lie endless options such as produce, poultry, flowers, toiletries, clothing, and more. This has led to many customers no longer knowing the production of their food. In fact, the production industry has become increasingly messy as the demand for supply increases. The text states that before the meat arrives at the store, factory farming is occurring. This is where animals are raised in such a way that increases farm profit and company profit, but at a great cost of the animal's welfare. This includes overcrowding, disease, outbreaks, unnecessary painful conditions, and excessive use of harmful antibiotics and hormones. I believe this understanding is an important research and knowledge base that myself and every customer purchasing meat needs to consider before shopping, as it may influence the items one is willing to purchase and the quantity. This brings me to my first observation within the meat department. Location, location, location. The environment. While walking through the meat department, I could not help but notice the brands and types of meat that were taking up the most space and in the prime locations. For instance, the highly processed meats such as chicken nuggets and sandwich meats, as well as value packs, were located at the end of the aisle. In aisle 1 of the textbook, it states that the end of the aisle displays receive the most traffic. The location is significant as it challenges the way in which people access quality meat. While in Loblaws, I failed to see any organic or locally grown meat products taking up the space in these prime locations. Instead, organics could be found tucked away in the small corners of the back wall, with little to no bright colors that stimulate hunger and purchasing. In aisle 1 of the text, slotting fees are defined as the cash payments that manufacturers pay to get their products on grocery store shelves. These can be upwards of $30,000 per brand for space on a grocery chain's shelf. Furthermore, the text states large slotting fees can cause a barrier for small manufacturers, as it is more difficult for them to pay the fees, thus explaining why some organics and local farmer products may be located not in the prime locations. While in Loblaws, the majority of the product found in the prime locations were a company known as President's Choice. And Accessible is a private label that is owned by the Loblaws, making their buying power in the store immense. I believe this is an inequitable way of distributing products for both the consumer and the manufacturers. This is because the products that are evidently better for the environment and consumers are being hidden away and therefore less accessible. Additionally, the high slotting fees make it more challenging for the companies who are creating sustainable foods to become larger companies and expand, as it is already difficult for organics and local farmers to compete with the big companies and manufacturers. The slotting fee is an added barrier they face. It should also be noted that many of the products located in the prime locations were products of the United States. This is significant as the United States continues to use RBST, a hormone that has previously been banned in Europe and Canada. Although, because the product is still on Canadian shelves, many Canadians are still at risk of the effects of this hormone. In relation to my next observation in regards to price, the products that I did find from the US were also the least expensive, which is luring more customers to choose those products over local ones. Ability. Observation number 2, price matters. My second observation goes hand in hand with location. This is because as I was walking around the meat department, I could not help but notice the assortments of meat that are at the lowest prices. For instance, the largest packages of meat were often labeled family sized, were located in the prime locations discussed previously, and costed the least amount. The significantly lower prices than the smaller package located on the back wall impact customers' choices, as the larger one appears to be more bang for their buck. However, many of these packages just end up being wasted because consumers are not able to eat all that they have purchased of food for customers. The very low prices of these value packs results in customers wanting to buy these specific large amounts more frequently. This puts pressure on farming to be able to produce large amounts of meat. This has led to copious amounts of cows that are releasing significant volumes of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere in the forms of methane, carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide, resulting in a major contributor to global warming. Therefore, the impact of overconsumption of meat is detrimental to the environment. After going to the supermarket and investigating the meat department, my first reaction was, what now? Now that I'm aware of these factors, what can I do to really make a difference in my life, the environment, and spread awareness? The textbook wraps up wonderfully by giving a few suggestions. Some of these include going vegetarian, eating less meat, and buying local and organic raised meat. Although I think it's important to contextualize these suggestions as they are not possible for every customer. For instance, going vegetarian does not always align with a person's religious or cultural practices and beliefs. Additionally, eating local and organics is often more expensive, which creates a financial barrier for many. Although the authors have good intentions with these suggestions, it is important to remember they are easier said than done. For me, what matters the most is that we educate ourselves on the meat industry as a whole, and from there, you do what you feel you have the capacity to do. This is an ongoing process, but the more people who get involved, get educated, and ask questions, it's a step closer to challenging the mainstream meat industry.